So a while ago I did a review on the Lenovo W540. And that wasn't the most positive review in the world. I didn't like it, to be perfectly honest, for how expensive the laptop was. I don't think it lived up to the price. So I want to do another review of another Lenovo laptop that I have here. Unfortunately, I don't have a W540 anymore. But I do have this e540, and I'm just going to go over real quick the external of it, and then I'll power it up and we'll do a quick benchmark. So I'll open it up here real quick. Apologize, have to use two hands. Now, this laptop cost right around $700, I think just over $700. And for that you get a fairly attractive, gunmetal gray matte. And it is plastic all the way around. Get a little silver bezel on the edge here. I really like the keyboard on the Lenovos. The tactile feedback is pretty nice for a laptop. Obviously it's no mechanical keyboard, but it has a nice travel. The keys are nicely shaped. You still get this horrendous trackpad, which I've seen the pictures for the W550, and it looks like they're moving away from this a little bit, which is good because it just doesn't work. Now on the W540, this trackpad was unacceptable. That was a laptop cost nearly $3,000, and having a really bad trackpad just wasn't cutting it. On a $700 laptop, it's a little bit more forgiving. You know, I'm going to give a laptop that costs a lot less a little bit more forgiveness for having a few less features, obviously. You'll notice also that this has no indicator lights on it, like I complained about with the W540. But again, it costs significantly less, so I expect to have less features. I know a lot of people in my video comments said that they do not like having the keyboard on one side, the number pad on the other side. On these widescreen laptops, I think there are very few that I've seen that have not had this layout. So, something that you're just going to have to live with, I think, at this point. It also comes with a fairly small power brick, which is nice for carrying around. Another thing, I've already unscrewed the bottom. Flip it over here real quick. That this has, that I actually like over the W540, is the cover over the hard drive, memory, CPU fan when you need to clean it out. Is a fairly robust, it's still plastic, but it's strong. It doesn't flex like the one on the W540 did. But on this E540, it actually is fairly strong. The tabs that hold it in very well. After you take the 3 screws off, you really have to pry it off. It's held on pretty tightly. And this has been off a couple times because we've increased the memory. It came with 8 gigs. We put 16 gigs in. Put a little faster hard drive in it. Over here is the slot that has the wireless adapter and the CMOS battery, which is nice because it's quite accessible. I know some CMOS batteries on laptops are nearly impossible to get to. They put it in, you know, if it's like this, they'll have it under the keyboard and you have to disassemble 3/4 of the laptop to get to it. This here is the speakers. Normally I don't like down firing speakers, but these aren't quite down. They're kind of at an angle and they're quite loud and quite clear for a laptop. So these are actually really nice speakers on this laptop. I had to do a presentation this last week, and I used this exact laptop for that presentation, and the volume on it was loud enough for a conference room and for everybody in that conference room to hear the conference call quite clearly, and without having to turn the volume all the way up, and without a lot of distortion. So very nice speakers for a laptop. Again, for a laptop, better than I expected. One panel gets you access to a lot of the components that you'd ever touch in a laptop. You have your hard drive here, obviously your memory, and your fan, it only has one fan, which I think on this one is enough. I'll power it on and do some benchmarking here in just a few moments. So give me a moment to button everything back up, and we'll be back. Now you may ask what you get for your $700. Just going around the edge here, vent, video out, HDMI, a couple USB ports on this side. Again, along the front edge here are the speakers. Now on this side you have your proprietary charging, CD or DVD, and then one more USB. And this USB, that little icon there, you see it has a battery on it. You can charge your cell phone or whatever with this powered off through that USB port, which is a feature I've used on my laptop quite a bit, because I don't like it powered on, but I'll plug it in and then charge my cell phone off of it without having to have the computer on. Now, the screen, as you can see, is not a 1080 screen. It is a 768, so it's not the best quality screen. It has pretty good viewing angles, but it definitely is a lower quality screen than what I expect for around $700. But instead of that, first of all, you get an Intel HD 4600 graphics card, which is not shabby. And you also get a 4-core 2.2 gigahertz processor with hyperthreading. So you're actually getting 8 cores. So you actually get a pretty powerful machine for your money. When I was cross-shopping these, this was the least expensive laptop with this particular processor, with this Core i7 with 4 cores and hyperthreading. So, and it is a 4th generation Core i7. I just want to go ahead and do a quick remark. I know I've done this on my other laptops here, just to show them getting hot with the process, with the graphics going. So right now you get about 10 frames a second. This is what I would expect from the HD 4600. And it's really not bad. I haven't done any gaming on this, obviously. It's a work machine, but it's been running for a few moments now. Unfortunately, it doesn't show the temperature on the laptop in FreeMark. But the main thing is, I can hear the hard drive going, but the fan isn't really kicking up. It's warm air coming out, but it's not hot. So I've run this for a little while, and that fan never really gets super loud, which is really nice. I mean, I've had some laptops that just doesn't matter what you do. If you're having to do, some pretty solid processing, that fan kicks on and it's loud and it's annoying, and your lap gets super hot. But this really is, you can do a lot of work on it without it getting uncomfortable to have on your lap or to hold. The fan, even on a higher speed, is still pretty darn quiet. So that is an overview of the e540. I much prefer this laptop over the W540. The compromises in cost and weight to have to go up to the W540, I don't believe is worth it. The e540 makes a solid laptop for somebody who needs a lot of processing power, not necessarily graphics. This does not have a dedicated graphics card like the W540 or the ZBooks that I've reviewed in the past. It can only have 16 total gigs of RAM versus 32 like the ZBook 15 or the W540. But for most people, 16 gigs of RAM is more than sufficient. My laptop only has 16 gigs of RAM, and I can run 2 or 3 VMs, and I don't run into any issues with that. So, but for the cost and CPU performance, I did wish that you could get it with a slightly higher resolution screen. I wish you could get it with a 1080p screen. I just think it would really, even if it was $100 to $150 more with that screen, I think it'd still be an excellent deal for the price. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. I also have my Amazon partners link, which I'll link put in a link for this laptop on Amazon if you're interested in purchasing it, or feel free to use the Amazon link for any other Amazon purchases. It'll help support this channel. I appreciate it. Thank you.